2019 2500. The customer's been having issues with his emissions, his CP4. He's taking it to the dealership. Not much has been resolved there. So we called up a Waggler competition and said, hey, we've having these issues. What do you know about this CP4 to CP3 conversion by S&S? They said, hey, it's a no tuning, direct drop in, no problems, conversion. You know, ditch the CP4, go back to the CP3, which Dodge has already done. On the 2021s, they've already went back to the CP3, so they already know there's an issue. So we're gonna update this 2019 with the CP3 conversion by S&S. Guys, follow along.
Doing this, it should go pretty straightforward. We will have to disconnect the batteries because we're going to be removing the ECU fully from the truck. So,
okay.
I guess let's get at it.
So what we're after is that thing right down there. That's the CP4 down there. So we got to pretty much take all this off, clear our way. Then it should be pretty straightforward after we get that done. So we'll disconnect the batteries first because we're going to be taking out the ECU and the electronics. You always want to disconnect the battery first. Step one, always.
Remember, if you do the negative, you don't have to worry about it arcing out on anything.
Duly noted. Remove the negatives. So what are you after right now?
We're going to remove the intake horn.
Okay. Step 2, remove the intake horn.
Which requires removal of the EGR valve.
So is that the EGR you're unplugging over there?
Yeah, it's the EGR.
So it has a few safety clips you gotta unplug there. As you can see, the little red one you gotta push up. And then unplug on the back. And that cleared up a little bit more room for us. Make it more reliable. Yeah, well. What kind of truck did you end up getting?
5500.
Cabin chassis.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Limited.
Limited.
Dude, limited is just flowing around here, man.
I guess so.
That non-peasant life.
Yeah.
God, it's like I'm hanging out with a bunch of like Ford owners.
You got me into that mess too.
I ain't no peasant, I got a limited, bro.
I could only afford the bighorn. Sorry.
It's a simpler kind of life right there. Not gonna lie, I miss my Dodge.
I couldn't believe you sold it, honestly. I didn't think you were gonna sell it. I thought you were gonna get those guys here and help them heck sing it.
He called me like a day later to ask me if I had any. Wanted to ask me what kind of oil. I was like, man, you sure you don't want to sell that back to me? No, man, I like it. I don't like it.
Sometimes the pocket full of money isn't where it's all cracked up.
Well, it depends on how you're about to spend that pocket full of money.
I've been non-stop looking at fortunes again.
Really?
Dude, I'm really looking for a standard cab.
I'll find your standard cab.
I want a standard cab, 4-wheel drive, 6-speed, limited.
That might be hard.
Interior swap?
I'll find your standard cab 6-speed, long model.
But I want it to be a 13 plus truck.
You know where I would probably find that truck? Down in Texas.
Yeah.
You gotta go get it.
I don't care. I'm down for a roadie for the right truck. This always sucks because we're gonna break this retaining clip to get this off of here. So gently pull it out. Usually the feathers don't re-hook.
Ah.
So get that out of the way to get to that bolt right there.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
How your engine swap go? All smooth?
Yeah, it's not broke in yet, but it's running. It went outside without an oil leak and it's running, so I mean,
It's always a bonus.
we're winning there. So what do we got going on here?
Yeah, just a little beamer over to the top.
What's he thinking?
You can take that JB4 off there to a bad box series.
Oh, really? So your heat grid wire is right here.
Old grid heater.
And the nut is encapsulated on there so it doesn't fall off.
Ah.
Hold that wire around there.
Get out of your way.
Then we open it up a lot more. Install video for him.
And what are those lines you're taking?
These are the
off
feed lines. This is what really makes the CP4 different than the CP3. It's a dual head pump, so it's a dual outlet pump, as opposed to a CP3 is a single outlet. There's a lot more differences, but
That's one way to distinguish.
Yeah, if it's got dual heads on it, then it's going to be a CP4 for sure. So, since I'm being lazy and don't want to go get the special socket, you just got to reach in here with the stubby wrench. Break the line loose.
And it helps you have extra long arms because most normal people don't have arms like that.
Yeah.
Most people would have an extension on top of that wrench.
Okay, so that's loose. And once the lines are broke loose, I like to leave them tight up until then, and then I'll go through and I'll take the mounting nuts off because then I'm not fighting the lines.
Makes sense. There's one mounting nut there. That one. So what line he was taking off is the one in the very back there. That's what he was reaching for.
Okay, so then try that one there. No, that's gonna be a 13 nut.
There's another mounting bracket down here. Right there, you guys can
13 millimeter.
Booyah! Didn't drop that sucker.
There's one feet line.
Yeah, there's one.
So then we're gonna take the mount off, get it off there, then wiggle it out.
So there's two mounting nuts that you got to take off to get those feed lines off over there. So there's one in the back and there's one on the side.
And to prevent contamination, we're gonna immediately cap this back port.
Okay, because that's the one we're going to be using for the CP3, right?
We're not using the back one anymore.
Oh, we're not using the back one anymore.
We're gonna use the front one. So
All right.
we're gonna do that.
So we're going to cap off the back so nothing gets in there.
The last thing we want to do is contaminate an injector.
Whew. So you're tightening up the cap right now?
Yep.
All right. You guys can see it's way back there on the back of the block. Or the back of the engine, I should say.
Yeah. It doesn't want to give me my socket back.
And you just jump up in there.
We'll come back and torque that later, but it's not going to get contaminated right now.